Hey, thanks for joining me for the fundamentals of American Sign Language. Let's get started.
In this video, I want to discuss struggling with non-manuals. Were you told that it's impolite to point and inappropriate to make faces? So was I. And this is true, based on the setting that you're in. If you're imagining making faces while sitting down at Emily Gilmore's dining room table, while the maid serves a 7-course meal, or in front of your mother who, thankfully, taught you to stop sticking out your tongue and making faces, it's going to be difficult. I admit that having you turn and make a face at the person next to you on your first day of ASL class probably makes it a bit more awkward as well. But if you can see yourself sitting down and having a conversation with an amazing person that you now have the opportunity to communicate with, who is also making those same faces too, it makes all the sense in the world. When I learned to sign, I learned Pidgin Signed English. It's a mix of ASL and English word order and English signs, similar to Spanglish. Everyone I knew who was deaf all signed PSE. When I got my first job working at the deaf school, I was shocked by this entire world of people who made these faces and noises and stuck out their tongues. As the shock began to fade though, and I realized there was no rudeness or ill intention behind it, I was able to get past any feelings that I had of awkwardness or inappropriateness. And I was actually able to start seeing how those features are a grammatical part of American Sign Language. One deaf teacher I worked with was absolutely amazing. She was fun and kind and more than anything, patient. She was willing to take the time to communicate with me when some other deaf people were rightfully frustrated at the lengths it would take to communicate even something really simple to me. She would ask me a question or she would give me something to do and I would miss all of it. All of it. She would then very slowly start to fingerspell all of the signs that I didn't recognize and all of the nuances that I had missed. I'm embarrassed to say that she was able to do this while having a fluent conversation with a 3-year-old about the next part of the routine, while I'm trying to figure out what fingerspelling she's saying and how to make sense of all of it. Her patience most definitely paid off. The time that I spent communicating with her gave me an amazing role model for non-manuals. After that, when I wanted to say something, I would visualize how she would move her mouth or the expression that she would have, and I would copy that. This was the most absolute life-changing part of my acquisition of ASL. For this reason, I encourage you to make an effort to spend time in the deaf community. I already definitely encourage that, but I say this especially if you're struggling with non-manuals, as well as with your signing. Make an opportunity to interact with someone who is deaf. Look up a local deaf event and go, whether you're in a class that requires it or not. I also want to add, go to a deaf event or make an opportunity to communicate with someone who is deaf, even if you're scared to go and afraid that you'll forget how to spell your name, which is totally likely. Or you think that you sign terrible and no one will want to talk to you, which isn't true. In the meantime, start looking up videos of deaf people telling stories in ASL and see the non-manuals, the inflection, the mouth morphemes, and all of these other amazing features of ASL as a whole. Stop worrying about what you look like and give it your best. It comes a lot easier as time goes on, to the point that now I don't even have to tell myself to raise my eyebrows or scrunch my eyebrows or say ah when something is really far away, or any of the other cool things that you'll learn if you continue in this video series. Get a role model for non-manuals and start to picture them when you sign. Then start making those faces as exaggerated as they should be, and without thinking to yourself how awkward you look. Most of all, enjoy your adventure in ASL.
Thanks for joining me for the fundamentals of American Sign Language.